Hello everyone, welcome back to our YouTube channel Agri Addict. I am your mentor Ari Prasad. So today in this video we have All India PhD topper who has secured All India second rank in ICAR PhD exam 2024 in the subject of agronomy. She is Sayantika Sarkar. So Sayantika, I welcome you to this session. So she is here to explain about a complete list of books, the tips and tricks that you can follow if you are preparing for ICAR PhD exam in the subject of agronomy. So before we start the session, where she will be explaining in detail about the different sources that she has utilized to prepare for her exam. So I would like to please request you to please introduce yourself.
Thank you, sir, for giving me this opportunity. Hello, everyone. I am Sayantika Sarkar. I'm basically from West Bengal and I have done my UG from Vidhan Chandra Krishi Vishwavidyalaya. And I've secured an All India rank 3 in my ICR GRF exam and All India rank of 2 in ICR SRF examination. And I will be pursuing my PhD, most probably in IRI only, in the subject group of agronomy.
Okay, so you have pursued your MSc from IIR in New Delhi, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so all the very best for your upcoming ICR counseling. So I wish you all the best.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. So in this video, this is because we wanted you to just give a quick guide to all the upcoming aspirants who are actually preparing for either ASRB and also for ICR PhD exams. I believe like the list of books that you are going to tell now, it's same for the PG, PhD and also the ASRB-NET. Only there is a difference in the level of questions that will be asked and the kind of pattern that the different exam follows, right? Yeah.
So I will start with why I've chosen agronomy as a subject.
Okay.
We all know that agronomy basically deals with the optimization of the field crop production, and it deals with reducing the negative impact and negative environmental impact of the crop production technologies. And by studying agronomy, the researchers and the students basically can stay in the forefront of the innovative technologies, and basically they can implement these data driven, data. We are all talking about data driven agronomy, so they can utilize these data driven technologies to basically go for some sustainable practices, and they can basically address the hunger issues in a sustainable manner, in a more resource efficient manner. So basically I was frankly speaking, I was not interested in genetics and all those subjects. So I was my research interest was in natural resource management. So that's why I've chosen like agronomy. So yeah. And for agronomy aspirants, I want to say for the starting the preparation of agronomy for SRF, it basically has got three parts. In the first part, there is the general knowledge part, where you will be asked some general knowledge. It might be or might not be related to agriculture. Like they can ask you anything related to your general knowledge. They can ask you economics. They can ask about the constitution, Indian constitution, like anything they can ask. They can ask about sociology. They can ask you about history, anything they can ask. But this time it was basically asked from agriculture only. And for part B, in agronomy it has got four parts. There is like agronomy, soil science, agricultural chemicals, and water science and technology. And in the part C was is comprising of fully of the major subject group, which is agronomy. Okay, so I will be telling you part by part. For the part A, which is the general knowledge part, I haven't referred to any such books. I have read the newspapers and some YouTube videos of IS, IPS, those videos I have referred to. And for the part B, now for agronomy. Now for the basics of agronomy, you can start your preparation. Like if you are preparing for SRF in agronomy, then you might have prepared for JRF also. So these are the books that you will be needing for your JRF also. So, you can refer to the basic books like Principles of Agronomy by Reddy, then Principles of Agronomy by S.R. Reddy, and then Agronomic Terminology, which is by the Indian Society of Agronomy. And after reading all these books, you can refer to the Agronomy Facts for Competition by R.S. Minasar. Like now, this Principles of Agronomy book by Reddy and Reddy, this is what what the agronomist call the Gita of agronomy, because like it has got the all the concepts, like no matter how many times you read it, like you will always come to know about something like more, like it will clear your concepts in a better way. So this is, I mean, you have to read it in like it will always benefit you no matter how many times you have read it. And then after reading this, you can go to SRAT, and like step by step, after reading the SRAT, you have to read the agronomic terminology and agronomy facts for competition. Like this book is basically, it has got like one liners. So after this book you have to read like for quick revision, you can refer to this book. But it has got all the topics covered of agronomy as well as soil science and statistics as well. Okay. Then, yeah, next slide. Yeah. For the crop production part, this is also an important part. Like nowadays, the questions are being asked from this part as well. Like, you have to read at first the field crop production book, that is the first volume. It has got like chapters like the cereal crop production, then the pulses. Okay. So after that, after completing this, you have to move to the commercial crop production book, and it has got the oilseed crops, then the fiber crops, and then tobacco and all those kind of the commercial crops. So I feel like the commercial crops are more important nowadays, because this time also the questions were asked from the commercial crops like tobacco. Like the commercial crops are nowadays more important. Like people are the question setters are focusing on these crops, and the questions are asked like they are, you know, line by line. Like you have to read line by line. Like they can ask you anything. And then during my JRF preparation, actually, I had read this modern techniques of field raising field crops by Chidda Singh. And during my SRF, frankly speaking, I haven't referred to this book. But during the JRF preparation, like during the JRF, what happens is like we don't have any idea. I come from a background where I'm not related to agriculture, so I do not know anything about agriculture. So this modern techniques of raising field crops, this book is quite helpful for those students like who do not have any agriculture background. But during the SRF preparation, it is not that much needed. But during the JRF, like you can have a quick glance. Like sometimes, you know, the field crop production book by Rajendra Prasad sir, it becomes difficult. Like somewhere it is written this, somewhere it is written that, so it can confuse the reader. But the Chidda Singh book, this is written in a quite lucid manner, so one can easily understand the things. And after that, you can refer to these books. Like you can read the Chidda Singh book like one time. After that, you get the basic idea, and then you can refer to the Rajendra Prasad books. But these Rajendra Prasad books, like 2 volumes, these are the most important because it is released by ICAR. Yeah.
And like I just want to tell you also, like since you have also cleared your PG, like JRF and now SRF, you can simultaneously go for both. Like you can specify which books are actually necessary for JRF and which are required for SRF. So in a single video, we can cover both the things. Yeah. Next.
Yeah, for the water management part, like this water management part is basically very important for the SRF point of view. Also for the JRF point of view, it is important. But for the JRF aspirants, I would rather suggest that you only read the principles, the water management chapter in the book Principles of Agronomy by SRAT. That is more than enough, and you can also read the Irrigation Agronomy by SRAT and GKRT book. Like one time you can read, and like it is almost the same because the first author is the same only. So the Principles of Agronomy book by SRAT, from there water management chapter is enough for the JRF aspirants. And for the SRF aspirants, the all the 3 books are needed. Like first Irrigation Agronomy by SRAT and GKRT, and then Irrigation Theory and Practice by A.M. Michael. But in this Irrigation Theory and Practice by A.M. Michael also, this is basically the book for the, you know, the water technology, water science and technology students. From there, from this book, Irrigation Theory and Practice by A.M. Michael, you have to read only those chapters. Like you have to read, you have to skip the engineering aspects. You have to focus mainly on the agronomic aspects of water management. Okay, so you don't have to read all the chapters. You have to read like the chapters like which deals with like surface irrigation practices, then drip irrigation, sprinkler irrigation, and the saline waters and all those kind of things. Like you don't have to go for like you have to read the drainage part also, but you don't have to read the well, designing of wells and all those kind of chapters. You have to skip the engineering part. Basically, you have to focus on the agronomic aspects. Previously, the questions used to come from the engineering parts as well, and my seniors used to refer some objective books on water technology as well. But nowadays, the questions are not coming. So these three books are enough for the water management part. And if you are an JRF aspirant, then you have to only read the water management chapter of Principles of Agronomy by SRT, and you can then after if you are having time, then you can go for Irrigation Agronomy by SRT and GKRT. But for JRF, no need to read this Irrigation Theory and Practice by M. Michael. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Thanks.
For the weed management, the Tikedas sir's book is enough. Like if you have to read it, like you will be clearing your concepts also. Like I am a student who didn't like weed management at all. Like I used to fear because I am not from an agriculture background. So those names of the weeds and those weed identification things, I used to fear this a lot. But after reading this weed science book, Basics and Applications by Tikedas sir, I was like completely mesmerized. Like this book is very good. Like you can understand the concepts. Like yeah, but yeah, you have to read all the chapters from this book. But for understanding part, like for first time you have to read all the chapters. Second time, I used to do, like I never prepared my own notes. Okay, so I what I do is like I highlight the book. I under at first I underline the chapters, like what are the important things. Like but in when the first time you are reading a book, you tend to underline all the things. Like you think that everything is important, but when you read for the second time, you find that okay, this is everything is not that important. So what you do, you just highlight the things, and when you revise after that, you only read the highlighted things. By that way you, and agronomy is a revision kind of a thing. The more you revise, the more you get a boost of confidence. So you have to highlight the things, and during a revision you have to read only the highlighted parts, and that way you will save time. Okay, so during and in this weed science part, the most important part is the chemical weed management, like the herbicides and all those chapters. Like try to focus on those things, and that chemical like structures of the herbicides. You do not need to learn all those things. Okay, just like mode of action, then what are the doses of the herbicides. Like from the weed management, basically the questions come in the form of a matching. Okay, so for that you will be given like that. You have to learn the trade names of the herbicides. Like you need to match the trade names and the actual chemical names. Like that kind of question comes. And the what are the percentage of the active ingredients? Then what are the doses of the herbicides? Like this. Yeah. Yeah. For the weed management part, this is enough. This book is enough.
Okay.
Okay, now these are the two books which is released by the Indian Society of Agronomy, and these two books are important from the SRF point of view. All the modern concepts in agronomy are covered in this book, the modern concepts of agronomy by Indian Society of Agronomy. And as we are all talking about climate resilient practices, like climate change is a major issue, so this climate resilient agronomy also becomes relevant nowadays. So just this climate resilient agronomy book is not that important from the SRF point of view. Also, just try to after each chapter it has got questions in the form of fill in the blanks or true false. So try to solve those questions, and each after each chapter there is some summary also. So if you are not able to read the whole chapter, just read the summary also. You can get an idea, and you can. This is good to read also. Like if you have time, you can read also. Like you can know about the like mitigation practices, adaptation practices. So it is good if you have time. But if you don't have time, then just go for solving the questions. Modern concepts of agronomy also has got questions at the back of each chapter. So just try to solve those questions if you don't have time. Otherwise, modern concepts of agronomy is an important book for the SRF point of view.
Okay. For JRF, it is not at all required.
No. For the JRF also modern concepts of agronomy. Like if you have got time, you can read it. Like it has got those chapters like sustainable agriculture, then precision farming, organic farming. Yeah, those chapters are important only. But if you don't have time, you can read the basic books also, and then go for that RS Mina book. Which has got all the one-liners and everything. It has got everything like A to Z of agronomy. So yeah.
Okay, so now let's talk about the soil science. Like you have
Yeah.
beautifully explained each and everything that was actually necessary from the agronomy. So now let us start on the soil sciences.
Yeah. So as we all know that the agronomy students have to study the agronomy and the soil science. Like during our higher studies, you can't differentiate between these two subjects like agronomy and soil science. So an agronomist is basically an agronomist as well as a soil scientist. You can call it. So for the soil science, at first I read like introductory soil science by D.K. Sir, this book for having some basic concepts like what is soil science and all those kind of things. Like it has beautifully explained everything with examples and all those things. And after that, I have read this fundamentals of soil science old edition book by ISSS. And this after that yeah, after that I read this soil science treatise book by Etella Satyanarayana sir. Yeah, this book is like the RS Mina book in agronomy. It has got all the topics covered. Like it is not one liner, but it is like the short form of this fundamentals of soil science book by ISSS. So it is written in a gist manner. Like you can quickly revise all the things. And the nature and properties of soil by NC Brady. This book I had read during my JRF preparation time. During my SRF preparation time, I couldn't get time to revise this book. Like this book is good for concept building. Like some like you can build your concept, and this is very interesting book. Like but I don't think like an SRF aspirant can get ample amount of time to read this book. If you're a JRF aspirant and if you are like in your second year, and if you have got time and if you got interest in understanding the subjects, in understanding the concepts, then you can refer to this book. This is a very nice book. Okay. Nature and Properties of Soil by N.C. Brady. Hmm.
So basically for both JRF and SRF, like these books are important.
No, for like as I said, for the SRF aspirants, no need to read this Nature and Properties of Soil by N.C. Brady. You'll be wasting your time. Like,
Okay.
yeah, for a JRF aspirant, like if you have got ample amount of time, like you can take this book and understand the some important concepts which are not explained in detail in Fundamentals of Soil Science book by Indian Society of Soil Science. But for a SRF aspirant, I would suggest that first time read this Fundamentals of Soil Science book and highlight those things. And during the revision time, you just read those highlighted parts. And at the same time, you have to read this Soil Science treatise book by Etella Satyanarayana sir line by line. Like it has got all, every line is relevant. There is nothing irrelevant. Every line is important, and even every line and in the end of all the chapters, there are some one liners also. That is also important. So everything is important in this book. This book is very important. Soil science treatise. If you don't get time to read anything also in soil science, you can refer to this soil science treatise book for soil science for JRF and SRF. Everything.
Oh,
Mm.
okay. So next we have something for soil fertility. Yes.
Yeah. For soil fertility, I had read this textbook of plant nutrient management by the Indian Society of Agronomy. This book has also got questions and answers at the questions, and answers also at the end of each chapter. So this book is pretty good for the agronomy aspirants in for soil fertility portion. And like NC Brady only, during my JRF preparation, I started my JRF preparation quite early, so I got ample amount of time to read this book. So the Soil Fertility and Fertilizers book by Tisdale Nelson. So if you are in your JRF preparation period, and if you are in like second year, so you can read this book. Like it has beautifully explained all these things. Okay, all the concepts of soil fertility. And if you are an SRF aspirant also, I think for SRF aspirants also, this book is pretty much useful to understand the concepts of soil fertility. Soil fertility is a very important, topic which comes under agronomy as well as under soil science. So I would suggest that for SRF aspirant also, that this book one should read. But if they don't find time, then they can refer to the soil science treatise book only by Atala Satyanarayana sir. It has got one chapter in soil fertility, and also one can read the ISSS book also. ISSS book has also got the chapters like nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, and the micronutrients. So yeah.
Okay. This is about soil science. Okay. We have something about
Yeah,
agricultural chemistry.
yeah. In part B, there is also one subject called agricultural chemicals, but you don't have to focus much on this thing. Like agricultural chemicals is very hard for me, and I feel it is hard for all the agronomy aspirants as well, because the no matter how many times you read it, you will forget everything. Okay, so actually the agricultural chemicals people, they read the Handa book, but my seniors also had read, I think, the Handa book, but I just couldn't. I just couldn't do it. Like I was struggling with this objective agricultural chemicals book only, so I couldn't do it. And this time, no question. Like I think only two questions came from agricultural chemicals in part B. But that doesn't mean that questions don't come. Questions do come. But whatever the questions come, I think the people can answer by reading this objective agricultural chemicals book only. And if they can't also answer, I think if you are leaving one question also, that I mean, no need to read that Handa book, because even if you read it, you will tend to forget everything because you are not a agricultural chemical student. So that is not necessary. So this objective agricultural chemicals book by Arkadev Mukhopadhyay, doctor, that is enough for the agricultural chemical student. And this unbuilt agricultural chemicals, this book by Satyam sir. And from this book, I have solved the questions in the back in the end of the book. There were some questions like previous year's questions. So and the previous year's questions from the part B and as well as from the part C, like the core subject in agricultural chemicals, whatever the questions came in the previous years, that was also present. So like I just solved those questions, and if I couldn't like solve some question like from the core subject group, then I took the help of some seniors from agricultural chemicals only, or from some my batchmates from agricultural chemicals, and they just solved me, and I just like there were some numericals, so I just saw that yeah, by this method I can solve these questions, and like this only. Agricultural chemicals I haven't read that much.
Okay. So next, last part, we have general agriculture, which
And
I think most of the students will be knowing. Yes.
yeah, for the general agricultural part, like now for agronomy aspirants, I would say like there is like agronomy is basically general agriculture only. Like okay, so matlab, like agronomy people have to know almost everything except those genetics things. Okay, so for the general agriculture, during my JRF preparation days, I had initially read this Sunda book, and the Arun Katyan volume 1 I had read fully, and from the for the volume 2 also I had read only those physiology chapters like photosynthesis and respiration and those like water something like transpiration and all those kind of things. I had read the volume 2, and all those chapters I read. I have skipped the genetics portions. And previously, for the JRF, the questions used to come from general agriculture, like the seed science and all those kind of things. Questions used to be asked, but nowadays the questions are not being asked from general agriculture in agronomy. The questions are basically of assertion, reasoning type, and it basically rotates around like agronomy and soil science and all those things like NRM. They are not going into this general agriculture things like entomology, and all those things are not being asked. So for my SRF preparation, I haven't read this. I haven't revised this Sundar Gatyan book. But if one can revise, then it's good, because in the general knowledge in part A, also some questions this year were asked from entomology. Like 3 or 4 questions were asked from entomology. So I think I couldn't answer 3 or 2 of them. So if one can read, that's fine. But I think one should focus on the core subjects like agronomy and soil science only. One should not go because like one cannot find ample amount of time to read this general agriculture books also for the SRF aspirants. And for the, if you are a JRF aspirant, you can read, but actually the questions are not being asked from these things in agronomy. So for agronomy aspirants, they don't need to focus on the general agriculture. Like if you are a JRF aspirant, whatever you are taught in your BSc level, that is enough. Like you have got enough knowledge in general agriculture. If you are
Like if they have not
focused,
studied well or prepared well for the semester exams, like they can then refer these books. Otherwise, like
yeah.
it's not necessary according to you. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So this is for the general agriculture. I guess like we have sufficiently covered each and every topic that you have mentioned in the part B and part C, and you have nicely explained each one of them. I was just seeing your energy. The energy was constant throughout the session, where you have nicely explained bit by bit things from the single, like a very starting book to the end. So thank you so much for all your energy and
That's good.
interest that you
That's
have to guide your juniors. And if you have any last message to the students who are preparing or who will be preparing for the ICR, JRF, SRF, and also the ASRB-NET, please.
Yeah, actually, I left the statistics part. Statistics is
Okay.
also an important part in agronomy. Like the agronomist has to be a statistician as well. So for the statistics part, my JRF preparation, I had read the Gomez and Gomez book, Statistics. You can
Mhm.
find the soft copy also, and you can find the hard copy also. This is a like brilliant book in statistics for learning the basic concepts. And after that, like Rangaswamy book, I had read. And during my like the last days of the JRF preparation, I had read some of the notes prepared by my seniors. And like these were small notes, and I also read all the notes that were taught by my teachers during my BSc days. So that was enough. So yeah.
Okay, so this is from your side. Thank you so much for attending this session and providing your valuable guidance and also the complete list of books that you have referred and how you have like covered each and everything, which was responsible for securing a very good rank in this exam. So I wish you all the best for your future studies, and I thank you once again for attending this session and guiding all your juniors. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And I would like to end it with the saying that it was said to me by one of my seniors, like, do justice to your work and success will follow. So, yeah, do justice to your work. Don't think about success. It will definitely follow you if you are, sincere with your efforts. So, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, thanks for the motivating words. Thank you so much.